Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. It is now time for our annual hunting show. We got the DNR game wardens in the studio with us right now, getting ready to give us the latest information about the upcoming hunting season. There's always changes in the rules and regulations and things of that sort. Plus, we'll take your questions. If you have questions or comments for our game wardens, you can text or call them in. You can text them in at 912-427-3711. Text in those questions or comments to 912-427-3711, or you can call them in to 912-427-3711. Leanne will write down the questions and bring it in here. So I know you've got some questions you'd like to be able to guess the game wardens, and you don't want to do that when they're staring you eyeball to eyeball out in the field this hunting season.
That's right.
That's right. So we have Bob White in here and John Evans. Good morning, boys.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
We're good. Glad to be here.
Very good.
Good. Well, a good day to come in. Who wants to be walking out in outside right now?
That's right. That's right. Probably going to be a little slow today.
A little slow today. But has anything begun yet? Has
yes, sir.
Bow and arrow start?
Yeah, squirrel season came in August 15th. Dove season came in first Saturday in September. Bow season for deer came in second Saturday in September.
Oh, okay. So that's going on. When does primitive begin for deer season?
It'll be October 15th this year.
Okay, the week before regular.
October 14th.
And then a week later,
through the 20th.
October 21st will be regular rifle season for deer.
Okay. Once again, you're listening to the WIFO Big Dog Country DNR Hunting Show with we got Bob Evans, Bob White and John Evans in here this morning, trying to do three things at one time here. So Bob White and John Evans in here this morning. Appreciate y'all coming in. You got all kinds of information. Remember, folks, if you have questions for the game wardens this morning, make sure you text those in or call those in during the show. I'm sure that you got something out there that you would like to be able to know about new rules and regulations, hunting license, where you can hunt, how you can hunt, what you need to wear, what's legal, what's not legal, and all that kind of good stuff. Or maybe you got some comments about stuff. You can text those in to 912-427-3711, or you can call them in, and we'll write them down and ask the game wardens to 912-427-3711. You got something? All right, we got something here. All right, I'm going to give this to John here and see if he can read it there, because I'm not going to try to keep silence here on the air while we're trying to read it. So that we had to go. Somebody call one in already. Go ahead and get those questions or comments in to 912-427-3711. Same number. You can text in or call in. John, you got?
Yeah, we got a question. So the question is, if you shoot a deer and say you can't find it, this archery season. You can shoot deer, and they sometimes they'll run off, and you can't find them until maybe the next day or the next, and by that time the meat's possibly already ruined. So typically what we say, if you're not going to utilize that deer in any way, shape, or form, then no, you don't have to tag it. You find it after the fact. So let's say it's a big buck, and you find it 3 days later where you can't eat the meat, but you're going to utilize those antlers to mount it. Right. So, you've got to tag it then.
So if you use any part of the deer, you have to tag it.
Then you need to tag it. But say if you shoot it, it runs off, and 3 days later you find it, and it's ruined, spoiled, Cody's done got a hold of it, no, you don't need to tag it.
Okay.
Like I said, unless you're going to mount the deer, grab the horns, cut the horns off of it, well, then you're utilizing parts of it, so then you need to go ahead and tag it. And, easy way to tag them, go to our Game Check, download the app on your phone.
Game Check?
Yep, we have a Go Outdoors app where you can buy your license.
Go Outdoors.
It's called the Go Outdoors app.
Go Outdoors.
Yep.
Go Outdoors app.
Yep.
Okay.
You can save your license on there. You can save multiple licenses on there. Yours, your wife's, your kids, whatever. You can save multiple licenses. I probably got 20 on mine from just checking people throughout the year. But like I said, you can save multiple licenses. You can check your deer in there whenever you harvest it.
Just go to your app store and put in.
That's right. Go Outdoors app.
Go Outdoors. And I'll do the state of Georgia.
That's right.
All right. Go app. Okay.
So hopefully that answers this question.
All right. Someone. They text in a comment for you, John.
Imagine that.
Yeah. It says, this person says, I'm real disappointed, John. Yeah, I'm real disappointed in John. How could he not bring his chief Junior Ranger Tony Hoover to the show. You got a Junior Ranger there?
I think
of course, they're game boards these days, not Ranger.
Somebody did pick on him last year. They sure did.
I think it's one of the boys he works with down there.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, you can text in questions or comments here to our DNR hunting show. Text them in or call them into either number, 912-427-3711. Is it illegal to hunt in the city limits?
Well, number one, you got to have permission to wherever you hunt.
I didn't think you could fire a firearm in the city limits.
I'm not finished, Butch. All right. Excuse me.
That's why he said,
Bob?
That's why he said number one.
That's number one.
That's number one.
I should have looked at his fingers on his head. That's number one, Butch. Listen up now. Number two is...
All right. Most cities do have a city ordinance that says no firearm, or discharging firearms within the city limits are allowed. It's not against the state law, but there's a city ordinance here in Jesup and most cities. But archery equipment is allowed. But so, number one, you got to have permission. You got to have your license. And you can use archery equipment, which is crossbow, bow and arrow. And now they make these new things, air bows.
Air bows?
Air bow. It's like a gun. It's
sort of like a modified crossbow.
Yeah. The arrow is propelled by air, like compressed air.
Instead of you having to pull a string back,
that's right.
Air pushes it out.
That's right. And there's also a air rifle that you can use. That's legally
throw out lead?
Air rifle. It has to be 30 caliber or larger, but it's compressed air and up to about 40, 50 yards. It's very deadly, and you can hunt with those.
Wow.
So just as long as it's not a firearm.
Okay.
There's no discharging of firearms within the city. But you can hunt within the city.
You can on the cities that allow it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Somebody wants to know if there's a bag limit on bed bugs.
Tell them to call the school board.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I do want to mention about deer season this year, for the last several years, opening weekend has been buck only. Well, that has changed this year. It is back to either sex starting opening day. So
buck or doe?
They can kill a buck or doe opening weekend.
And that's on
October 21st.
21st.
Yes.
Okay. So back to both this year.
Yep.
Okay. I guess those population must have really picked up this past year.
For a good bit of the state, yes, sir. There's still some areas that are restricted, but nowhere close to us. Southwest Georgia, North Georgia has some counties with different restrictions, but nothing close to us in our area.
Okay. You're listening to the annual DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. We've got John Evans and Bob White in here this morning. We're going to take a quick break. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, any at all you need to do is to text those in or call them in to 912-427-3711. I'll read the text off the screen here. And if you call them in, Liam will write them out and bring the question in here to us. WIFO-FM in Jesup. More of the DNR Hunting Show in just a moment.
Sloan Deer Processing, owned and operated by Sandra and Jerry Sloan. 7 days a week, they'll be there for all your processing needs. They'll skin and clean the deer for you and make sausage, cube steak, hamburger meat, stew meat, and also slice for jerky. So bring them on. Look for their new sign on Highway 301 in the Broadhurst area. State inspected and certified. Sloan Deer Processing. When you're ready, they're ready. 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. Call Sandra at 202-6681, 202-6681, or Jerry at 202-7388, 202-7388. Sloan Deer Processing.
Come check out the friendliest gun shop around, Sportsman's Corner in Odom. Sportsman's Corner carries a wide variety of firearms, ammo, hunting accessories, and other outdoor items, including fish and tackle and live bait. With a very knowledgeable and friendly staff, Sportsman's Corner can help you with all your firearm needs, including gunsmithing. Sportsman's Corner is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., located at 601 North Main Street in Odom. Call them at 912-365-0018. 912-365-0018.
Jesup Tire Shop has been serving this area since 1942, and they can meet all of your tire, brake, and exhaust needs. Jesup Tire has car, truck, industrial, farm, and hunting tires. As your tire needs change, Jesup Tire is there to meet those needs with Goodyear and other top brands for all your driving needs. Get the right tire for your vehicle at Jesup Tire Shop. Save with the folks who know the tire business because tires is their business. Jesup Tire Shop, located at 795 West Cherry Street in Jesup. Call 912-427-2243.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. We continue on with the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup. In the studio with us live right now are Bob White and John Evans. So if you're out there trying to hunt, it's safe because they're in here, okay? And so we got Bob White and John Evans in here this morning on our annual hunting show. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can text those in or call them in. Same number, either way. If you have questions or comments, you can text them in to 912-427-3711, or you can call them in, and Leanne will write them down and present them to John or Bob. And we got one just presented to John here from Leanne. What do we have, John?
Yeah, the question is, why has DNR changed the rules on taking trees and logs out of rivers and lakes, which is destroying fish habitat? We haven't changed the rules on anything. They relaxed some of the restrictions and the permitting process years ago after a lawsuit in southwest Georgia on the Flint River, I think it was.
And pretty much just took away the fees. Before there was a fee for the permit. Now there's just no fee. But
no fee to bring out
for
logs.
For the deadhead logging is what they're referring to.
The rules have remained the same for deadhead logging. They can't use any kind of mechanical excavation, so they can't take a machine out there and dig logs up or anything. They typically use winches and
like
airbags.
On the cable shows and stuff.
They have to do it by hand, basically, or hand use.
They'll have a diver. He'll swim down, attach the deadhead log to the winch on the pontoon boat.
Yeah.
Pull it, winch it up.
They'll also use the bags like they use to inflate and race cars from the water and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so people can do that. Now they just don't have to pay for a permit.
Correct.
That's right.
But they've always been able to do it. Is that right?
They haven't always been able to, but they had to do some research on it years ago and try to determine that it wasn't going to negatively impact the fish habitat.
All right.
Enough to warrant not allowing.
Okay.
I don't know if you're saving these.
No, I'm not. You can just put that to the side there. And then one question that has been texted in. Where can I hunt bear? Where can I hunt bear and where can I hunt bear, and do I have to have a special permit on my hunting license?
There's a northern zone, central, and southern zone for bear, and there's certain counties.
In the state of Georgia.
Yes.
Right.
And there's certain counties within those zones that bear hunting is legal.
Right.
You don't have to have a special permit to do it. It's no kind of quota or anything like that. Like Bobby said earlier, any hunting you do, you have to have permission to be on the property. You have to have the proper licenses. You're not allowed to hunt bears over bait at all. If you do harvest a bear, then you use the game check system. That bear has to be recorded in the game check system within 24 hours, and it also has to be taken to a weigh station where they weigh the bear, age it, take a tissue sample, lots of different things where they collect data from that bear.
Is that legal in Wayne County?
No,
it's not
in Wayne County.
Not Wayne County. But in some counties throughout the state of Georgia it is, and you said there's no license or limit?
No, there is a limit.
There is a limit.
And you have to have your licenses. There's no quota.
There's no quota.
Or special permit required in addition to your licenses.
In addition to the license.
Yeah, most of our counties that are legal for bear hunting are those within and around the Okefenokee Swamp.
Oh, okay. All right. So you can always go online to the DNR's website to find out the latest information on that right there.
That's
all right.
Or pick up one of our regulation books at one of our licensed dealers.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Who is this?
Be careful what they ask for.
Someone's text. I'm trying to. There's no name here. Says, just letting you know, retirement is great. Imagine every weekend off.
Must be nice.
Tell Philip Scott that we said hey. No, I know who that is. That's good old Randy Asmal, I guess.
What number is that? We'll tell you.
The last
Don't read it out loud. Don't read it out loud.
I don't read the whole thing. The last two numbers are 16.
Yeah, that's Randy.
Yeah, we miss old Randy. We kind of wish he'd come back part-time with us.
Yeah, Randy did this show for a long time.
What? Yeah, he was here about 15 years.
Yep. All right. And another question that was texted in. When does the House bill that allows you to fish in all waters accessible by boat from the river go into effect?
Well, that is not the way the law is written.
Okay. Tell us.
But the one he's referring to is Senate Bill 115.
Okay.
And that, again, stemmed from a lawsuit on the Flint River, I believe it was, over in West Georgia.
Yep.
And it was all navigable waters, which is the main run of the river or the creek. Oxbow lakes, sloughs, all of those types of waterways are not considered navigable water.
Yeah, and so what brought this about, the lawsuit or whatever? There was a landowner on the Flint River, and evidently game wardens over in that area were charging people for fishing without a permission on the main river within this landowner's boundaries.
There was a certain portion of that Flint River that was deemed non-navigable by law years and years ago.
Okay.
Yep. So we've never done that here on the Omaha. We've never, on the main river itself, you can fish the whole river itself. It's only whenever you get off of that river, you get on private property.
Right.
Yeah.
And
nothing has changed for our area.
Yeah. So
how do you answer this question? What do you tell this guy right here?
So nothing has changed.
They are not allowed to go into oxbow lakes and sloughs that they don't have permission to be in.
You got to have permission.
Yep.
If you go on the main river, you got to have permission from the landowner.
A lot of folks had questions about Hughes Old River in our area. Hughes Old River is still private. They are not allowed to go in there unless they are a member or have permission or with a member.
And this was taken up to the Georgia Supreme Court, I guess it was back in either the 70s or the 80s, and it was the Hughes Old River, the lawsuit that went to the Georgia Supreme Court, and they ruled that if the landowner or owners own both sides of that Oxbow Lake, they can, in fact, restrict the hunting and the fishing
because
in that lake.
That is considered non-navigable water.
Right. Yeah.
Navigable waterways are those main rivers and creeks, the main stream bed, not the waterways off of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when it floods, you can take a boat just about anywhere you want to go. That doesn't mean you got free range.
Okay.
It's still private property.
That's right.
All right. All right, you're listening to the annual DNR Hunting Show right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. If you have any questions or comments for the game wardens this morning, Bob White and John Evans, you can text or call those in. You can call them in at 912-427-3711. Leanne is standing by, ready to write down your question, or you can text them in to the same number at 912-427-3711 if you have questions or comments for the game wardens here on our annual hunting show here on WIFO. We'll be back in just a moment with more of the show.
Country Feed and Outdoors is a local, family-owned and operated business. We are your hometown source for any of your lawn and garden, feed, and sporting good needs, with brands such as Kalmbach Feeds, Nutrina, Banded, Realtree, 10-Point Crossbows, Daiwa, Jiffy Jigs, Zoom, and so many more. We also have a full-service boat tech from Tuesday through Saturday to service any of your archery needs. We appreciate each one of our customers, and just as 1 Peter 4:10 says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. And we look forward to using the gifts that God has given us to serve our community.
Harrison Real Estate and Insurance, David E. Keith Broker, the one-stop for all your housing needs. Founding broker David E. Keith established this business with the intention to help with your need to purchase, sell, insure, or appraise your home. Also, property management for owners or investors. And as an independent insurance broker, they offer property and casualty insurance for your business or personal needs. Stop by today for real estate, rentals, insurance, and storage at Harrison Real Estate and Insurance, 309 South 1st Street in Jesup. Call 427-3746 or visit JessupProperty.com.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, the annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO. Game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us this morning with information about the upcoming hunting season. Plus, they're taking your questions and comments. If you have any questions at all, comments for our game wardens, now the time to do it. Text them in or call them in. Same number, 912-427-3711. If you text them in, it'll come up on my screen right here, and I'll be able to read them. If you call in your questions, Leanne will write it down and bring it here and hand it to the game wardens. All right, we're no questions or comments right now. Y'all got all kinds of new information about this year's hunting season. Well, so Bob, what you got?
Really not a lot. I mean, we don't have any major changes this year as far as statewide or anything in our area. I mean, you can look in the regulation book under major changes, and there's really nothing that affects our area. So it's pretty much the same thing as before. One thing is we don't have a buck only this year. It's either sex.
For the start of hunting season on October 21st?
For October 21st and 22nd. For years and years, it's always been just buck only, but now this year it's either sex.
Our local WMAs are starting to have some of their hunts on the state properties. We just finished up another youth hunt over the weekend on Sanseville and Penn Holloway. And this weekend we've got a regular firearms deer hunt, check-in hunt on Paulk's Pasture and Clay Hole, which is south of us. And then the following weekend will be Sanseville and Penn Holloway again.
Now, who are able to go to these hunts there on this public land?
Anyone can go to one of the check-in hunts. And the check-in hunts on the WMAs, when you come and check in for that hunt on that property, you're allowed to kill 2 deer. And those deer, once you kill them, you bring them to the check station, and the wildlife or the game management technicians actually weigh and tag the deer for you so it doesn't go against your state tags. They call them bonus hunts because they're like bonus deer. If you kill a deer there on that particular hunt, it doesn't count against your tags.
Okay, and the next one is when now?
This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on Paulk's Pasture and Clay Hole in Glenn County.
Okay.
And then the following weekend will be Sanseville and Penn Holloway, which are both in the bottom end of Wayne County.
That's getting some early hunting in there for firearms.
Yes, sir. And these are regular firearms hunts. You can take a high-powered rifle.
Now, how do most people hunt these hunts? I mean,
it's a mix.
Do they already have stands out there? How do they hunt?
A lot of folks bring climbers. Some bring in some ladder stands. A lot of folks will hunt from ground blinds. Different methods.
Okay. All right. Well, somebody just texted in. Can you shoot from the boat?
You can if that boat is not under power. So take, for instance, a duck hunter. He may set up his duck boat with, in a blind situation. It's anchored out. He can sit in that boat and hunt as long as he's got permission to be where he's at.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing for a vehicle. You can hunt from your vehicle. It's just as long as it's
on private property.
As long as it's not under power, and as long as you're not on a public road. Say if you want to use your vehicle as a blind, if it's raining like today, you can pull up to your club, crack the window, and hunt from your vehicles as long as you're not on a public road and as long as the vehicle is not under power.
Okay.
With boats, what gets people in trouble there with ducks and things sometimes is they use the boat to run into places, jump the ducks up, and try to shoot them.
And try to shoot while the motor's still running.
That's illegal. Yeah. Even if the motor's off, if that boat's still under power,
it's got to be still.
That's illegal. That's right. Yeah. Okay. You can set it up like Bobby was talking about in a hunting blind situation, something like that. Not under power, not under any movement or anything like that from power.
Okay.
Then if it is, then it's illegal.
Okay. I understand that. All right. Remember now, if you have any questions or comments for our game wardens this morning, you can text or call them in. Text them in at 912-427-3711, or you can call them in at 912-427-3711. Leanne will write down the question and bring it in here. Either way, text or call, and they'll be glad to answer any questions you may have that pertains to their field of expertise.
One other thing that's not hunting related but boating related is the boater education requirements. That's something we've been trying to educate folks on quite a bit here lately, and we've had a little bit of issues with, but anyone born after January 1, 1998 has to have completed boater education before they can operate a boat on state waters.
Oh, so they got to go through it like a safety type thing.
It's just like what they had to do to hunt and take hunter education. If they want to boat, then they have to take boater education in order to operate that vessel on state waters.
So that's after 1998.
Yeah, January 1st, 1998. Anyone born on or after that date has to have boater education in the state of Georgia.
All right, sounds good. Someone wants to know, they text in, can you shoot? Well, we did that one. Is there a 100-foot right-of-way on the river to hunt? Is there a 100-foot right-of-way on the river to hunt?
No.
There used to be. We used to have what was called the 100-foot, the WMA. But now the state has bought or leased all of the land down that direction anyway. So it's all WMA now.
Yeah, there used to be called the corridor lands, and it was the river corridor, and it was 100 yards. But the property that it existed on is now under WMA management. So it is not so I don't want people thinking they can just hunt within 100 foot of the river and be legal, because they're not.
Okay.
Each WMA has different dates and weapons that are legal to hunt with at the time. So they need to make sure which management area they're on and what are the current regulations for that area. For instance, Morgan Lake, which is on the Long County side of the river, is archery only for all species. So you cannot hunt with a gun in there at all for anything. But if you go further south onto the Buck Island Tract, part of the Townsend WMA, then you can hunt with a gun, and it's the same as statewide seasons.
Okay.
But other management areas have different regulations and different seasons compared to the rest of the state and private property.
All right, Bob, you got a question?
The question is it free for senior citizens for your license? And it is not. What was the date that they changed it? If you're born on
June the 30th, 1952.
Yeah, so if you're born on or after that date, you have to buy your license. So, and they're at an extremely reduced rate. Might as well be free, but your hunting license, once you turn 65, you can buy for says $7 annual. There should be a lifetime. Let me see the lifetime
There's
license.
a senior lifetime.
Yeah, and that's the way to go. It's
you can get a senior lifetime sportsman's license that covers everything for $70.
Yeah,
$70
for the rest of your life.
That one time for the rest of your life. Once you're 65, or older.
Yeah.
And then there's another one from 60 to 64. That's it's a reduced rate too, wherever that's at.
Okay.
I'm just trying to look
rate. That's the discount. It's $315.
Okay. But if you're born before 52, you get everything free. After 52, you got you got the reduced rate, and then a little after that's a reduced rate.
Yeah. When we had our license increases several years, it's probably been 8 or 9 years ago now, something like that.
Yep.
They had to set a date, and it was basically anybody prior to that was grandfathered in. And anybody from this date forward will get that opportunity to buy that license at a very reduced rate.
Okay. You're listening to the annual hunting show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. We'll be back with more. I've heard several questions text in here as it dings in my ear every time a question comes in. So we got more questions we'll answer for you. And plus the game wardens will give you the latest information on the upcoming hunting season. Stay tuned. We'll have more of the DNR hunting show here on WIFO in just a couple moments.
Sloan Deer Processing, owned and operated by Sandra and Jerry Sloan. 7 days a week, they'll be there for all your processing needs. They'll skin and clean the deer for you and make sausage, cube steak, hamburger meat, stew meat, and also slice for jerky. So bring them on. Look for their new sign on Highway 301 in the Broadhurst area. State inspected and certified. Sloan Deer Processing. When you're ready, they're ready. 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. Call Sandra at 202-6681, 202-6681, or Jerry at 202-7388, 202-7388. Sloan Deer Processing.
Come check out the friendliest gun shop around, Sportsman's Corner in Odom. Sportsman's Corner carries a wide variety of firearms, ammo, hunting accessories, and other outdoor items, including fish and tackle and live bait. With a very knowledgeable and friendly staff, Sportsman's Corner can help you with all your firearm needs, including gunsmithing. Sportsman's Corner is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., located at 601 North Main Street in Odom. Call them at 912-365-0018, 912-365-0018.
We're continuing on with the DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO. Game Wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us this morning. Remember, if you have questions or comments that you would like for them to answer for you or comment on, you can text those in to 912-427-3711. Text them in. Or you can call them in to the same number to 912-427-3711. Leanne will write down the question and bring them into the studio, and they will answer your question for you. Once again, the number 912-427-3711 to text in or call in. All right, we got another question text in here. What is the legal age to operate a boat or jet ski on the Ottawa River with an adult present?
Persons 12 to 15 years of age may legally operate a PWC if they're accompanied by a competent adult. Now, a competent adult is someone that's 18 years or older and has identification with them and is not under the influence of any sort of alcohol or drugs.
So that's a competent adult.
That's a competent adult.
No matter what their IQ is.
Well, they need to be unimpaired.
Unimpaired?
And at least 18 or older with some identification.
And so once again, the age?
That's a person 12 to 15 years of age.
12 to 15, they can operate a boat.
And then anyone 16 or older has to have that boater education to operate a PWC, a boat, whatever they're operating on the water.
Yeah. Wow. Now, that same 12 to 15-year-old, if they have that boater's education card or class, they can operate it completely by themselves.
Yeah.
They don't need
okay.
They don't need that adult.
I know the question was with an adult.
With an adult, right. Yeah, you're trying to get that younger age group there, the tweens and the teens. All right, let's see here. We got another question here, I believe here.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to read this. This is a comment, and then I guess they want to get y'all's thoughts and feelings on this. Someone texted in and says, "Please stress that on private property there is no corridor on the river for hunting or fishing to the public."
And that's what I was referring to earlier. That old corridor property was something, it hadn't been in existence for years, because all of that property that it did exist on is now part of a WMA, Morgan Lake or Townsend WMA.
Right.
So there is no corridor for you to hunt on anymore, and there never was on private property.
Right.
It was a designated WMA called the Rayonier Corridor Lands back when it was a property to hunt. Mm-hmm. But it is no longer in existence. And there's
somebody must have some sleeves going up to property and people going up. You can't do it.
No, can't do it.
All right. You have a question that Leanne
we got one to come in that says, "Can you still take your boat to Brunswick DNR to do inspection?" We don't offer inspections there at the office. A game warden anywhere can look at your boat and tell you what you got to have, make sure everything you do have is legal.
I wonder if he may be talking about Coast Guard.
Well, and that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Coast Guard, which is right next to our office, that we share the same parking lot.
Right.
Coast Guard does offer to do some inspections from time to time. I don't know if you can just pull up there and get one or not. Mm-hmm. That would be a call you'd want to make to them and find out. And they used to issue stickers. A lot of times we'd see those on the coast, saying that Coast Guard had inspected the boat on this
date. Do they have to be inspected, or just being safe?
They do not. They do not.
Just make sure they don't get fined.
Yeah. Some folks want to know that everything they have is legal and what the requirements are, and they just like to hear that from an officer and look at the boat while they're going through it.
And I believe they made some changes on the coast. Now this year, don't they have to have signals and flares and stuff? Didn't the state change that?
You talking about in bodies of water more than 2 miles wide? Right. When they're in front of basically on the ocean side of the islands.
Yes. Okay, ocean side.
Yeah, outside of the sounds.
Okay. All right, a question that was texted in. What are the rules on cutting dead fall trees in the waterway that hinders navigation, like Morgan Lake Channel to the river and Little Satilla River out?
If it's dead and down and obstructing navigation, in a normally used channel, then they can cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. They can cut it out. All right. Next question here is, What do I need to do if I have problems with dog hunters many times a year with their dogs running deer through my club?
Okay, and this is one of the numbers I was going to give out earlier. It's the tip hotline or the Ranger hotline number. It's 800-241-4113. You can always call that number, then they'll get in touch with somebody that's on duty. As a backup, you can call 911 and get a dispatch and maybe get a deputy out there. If we're in another county, because we cover 4 counties, so we may be in Brantley, and you call in Long County, and it's going to take us a while to get there. So you can always dial 911 as a last resort, and then maybe try to get a deputy out there until we can get there.
And what was that first number again?
It's 800-241-4113.
Now, I do want folks to know that we are recording this morning's hunting show here on WIFO with the game wardens, and it will be posted to our YouTube channel a little later on today. So folks who missed anything, they can go back. And that way, y'all can go back and listen to yourselves and be amazed at the advice that y'all gave out.
Yeah. Just to be amazed at myself.
Just to be amazed at yourself.
I amaze myself every day.
I always feel like I sound like such a hick.
Well, we do live in South Georgia.
We live in South Georgia. We don't try to hide your heritage.
That Ranger hotline number is all over the regulations. It's at the bottom of the pages throughout the regulation book, and it's also available on the app, online. There's lots of different ways to get a hold of the game warden in your area.
Yep. So
that's the best number to call, so you can get who's on duty at that time closest to you.
That's right. So we have 2 numbers. That's our Ranger hotline number. The second number is the number you call to buy your license, to register your boat. You can also call to check you. So if you kill a deer, and you can call that number for a game check. This number is 800-366-2661. 366-2661. And that's for, like I said, boat registrations. You can buy your license, game check. I think that's all.
Yeah, if you look throughout the regulations, you'll see that number on the bottom of one page and the Ranger hotline available on the other side.
Okay.
All throughout the regulations, online, your app, you can find it pretty quick.
All right. We got another question that was texted in. It says, what is the best way for a youth to get their boater registration class completed?
Most folks are doing it online. We offer some in-person classes from time to time. You have to go online to our website, look and see which county you're in and when classes may be available. We actually have a lot of difficulty getting enough people to sign up for an in-person class because so many people just do so much stuff online nowadays. And if they do the class online, they can kind of complete it at their own pace. So if I want to do an hour a night for the next 6 nights, I can do that and complete the course throughout the week.
And let me just say this.
All right, Bob.
The boater's education course, there is so much information in there. So just saying that, just be ready to take on a pile of information. And if you go to the one-day course, your mind is going to be, your head's going to be spinning at the end of the day, just from so much information. So if you have a young person, he's 12, 13 years old, just make sure they're ready for it, because it's a lot of information to come to you all at one time. So we actually recommend that they take the online course. That way they can maybe have an adult there with them to kind of help them and, get through it. They can take it at their own pace. If it takes them a week or a month to go through that course and take their test at the end of it, then that's best for them, versus going to a one-day course where all that information is dumped on them at one time. Then take the test at the end of the day and hope that they pass it. So,
and what is the website they go to?
The Go Outdoors Georgia.
Go Outdoors Georgia.
Yeah.
Go Outdoors Georgia.
Yeah. Go Boat Georgia. There's lots of different websites that'll link you to the same place.
Is that .org or
.com?
Or GeorgiaWildlife.com is what I tell everybody.
GeorgiaWildlife.com, and you can take it anything.
Look up at the top. It'll have hunter education, boater's ed. You go to that website, you can pretty much find anything you're looking for.
And it's the same for hunter ed. There's no minimum age requirement to be able to take those classes, but that child needs to be able to complete the class and take the test on their own. And if they're old enough and ready to do that, then they can take it at any age. For most kids, that's about 11 or 12 years old.
Okay. We're going to take a break here. Remember now, you're listening to the DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO. We got game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us this morning, and they're taking your questions. If you have any questions or comments for the game wardens this morning, you can text them in or call them in the same number. If you text them in, they will come up on the screen in front of me, and I'll read them to the game wardens. If you call them in, Leanne will take down the question, write it down, bring it into the game wardens, so they'll answer your question. So this is the time to go ahead and get the information you need while the game wardens are here ready to take your questions and listen to your comments. WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. More of our DNR Hunting Show in just a moment.
Jesup Tire Shop has been serving this area since 1942, and they can meet all of your tire, brake, and exhaust needs. Jesup Tire has car, truck, industrial, farm, and hunting tires. As your tire needs change, Jesup Tire is there to meet those needs with Goodyear and other top brands for all your driving needs. Get the right tire for your vehicle at Jesup Tire Shop. Save with the folks who know the tire business, because tires is their business. Jesup Tire Shop, located at 795 West Cherry Street in Jesup. Call 912-427-2243.
Country Feed and Outdoors is a local, family-owned and operated business. We are your hometown source for any of your lawn and garden, feed, and sporting good needs, with brands such as Kalmbach Feeds, Nutrina, Banded, Realtree, 10-Point Crossbows, Daiwa, Jiffy Jigs, Zoom, and so many more. We also have a full-service bow tech from Tuesday through Saturday to service any of your archery needs. We appreciate each one of our customers, and just as 1 Peter 4:10 says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. And we look forward to using the gifts that God has given us to serve our community.
Harrison Real Estate and Insurance, David E. Keith Broker is the one-stop for all your housing needs. Founding broker David E. Keith established this business with the intention to help with your need to purchase, sell, insure, or appraise your home. Also, property management for owners or investors. And as an independent insurance broker, they offer property and casualty insurance for your business or personal needs. Stop by today for real estate, rentals, insurance, and storage at Harrison Real Estate and Insurance, 309 South 1st Street in Jesup. Call 427-3746 or visit JessupProperty.com.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. We continue on with our annual DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO. Game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us this morning, and they're giving you the latest information on the upcoming hunting season. Plus, we've had all kinds of other topics that y'all handle other than just hunting, and you can call or text in your questions. You can text them in, or questions or comments. You can text them in or call them in to the same number, 912-427-3711, 912-427-3711. If you text them in, they'll come up on my screen in front of me here. If you call them in, Leanne will write them out and bring them into the studio, and we'll ask the game wardens. Somebody wants to know, what are the rules for woodpeckers? Can you rid your property of them if they are destructive to your property?
Quick answer for that would be no.
Can't shoot Woody the woodpecker, huh?
You cannot shoot woodpeckers, no. Right. I'm assuming he probably has some pecan trees or something he's trying to protect, but the only birds you can shoot out there would be the crows that are doing damage, but woodpeckers, no.
If he's got a problem with something on the house or something like that, he's going to have to call a licensed nuisance trapper.
Licensed nuisance
that's permitted
trapper
to come out and deal with protected.
We got those
species.
in this area?
We do.
Yeah,
we do. And same website, or you can call our local game management office in Brunswick. Mm-hmm. And they
get gators out of your pool?
They can. Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. We have nuisance animal trappers, nuisance gator trappers, and they'll have to pay for those services unless it's an alligator over 4 feet. Anything other than that,
I didn't see that career day in high school.
Yeah,
you want to be a nuisance trapper, Butch?
There's several of them around. Yeah, Gene Pritchett's our local nuisance gator trapper here in Wayne County.
Oh, okay.
Yep, has been for 25 years.
Wow. And still got all his arms and fingers?
He does.
Wow.
He does. Yeah, 9.5 of them.
Hey,
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, you got a question?
Yeah, so, Butch, I got a question. Pretty much here, a person has bought a new boat, and they try to get it registered. It's been 6 months, and they still don't have the registration. So typically we suggest, if you haven't received your boat registration in the mail after, I give them a month. You call this 1-800 number 366-2661, get a live person online and find out what they're missing. They probably need some sort of documentation, either a bill of sale, whatever. Of course, they're going to take your money, and that's the first thing that happens is, they cash your check, and that's done. But if they're missing some form of documentation, they're not going to call you. You have to call them. Mm-hmm. So don't wait 6 months. But if we run into that situation on the river, guy tells me, hey, it's been 6 months, we're not going to write you a ticket. But it is your responsibility to call the boat registration office and get it and see what they need.
Okay.
Bob might not write you a ticket, but I might.
Yeah. I'm too close to retirement to be making.
Not John. John's got to beat that quota.
They can go online and look at their account anytime and see what the registration system is waiting for, what sort of documentation they need.
Right.
Most often, it's something to do with the bill of sale or tying it back to the last person that had the boat registered.
Okay.
And the form that will fix that 99% of the time is called the Affidavit of Vessel Ownership.
Yep.
They can get that printed offline, fill it out, have it notarized, scan it and email it back up, and that'll typically solve most people's issues is that. It'll fix that. And,
and
they will not get their decal until they provide all the information to the boating registration office.
Okay. Bob?
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Another question that was texted in here, it says, let me get on here. It'll keep dinging in my ear until I click on it. The early rifle hunts they are having on WMAs, what is the reason behind them, and why not have that on the same hunts on public lands? I don't know if they mean private lands or whatever, but the early rifle hunts they're having on WMAs that y'all were just talking about, what's the reason behind having these early hunts?
To allow some early season opportunity. Like I said, these are check-in hunts. So if you wait till the regular season's in and everybody's hunting everywhere, then you may have less people show up. Part of what they want is they want more people to come to these hunts, and they want to have game management personnel there at the check station to collect data from these deer. And this is how we get data for the property, and that's how they make decisions on the management of that property, whether we're good with the hunting seasons we've got, if we need to restrict them, open them up a little more, things like that. So we get a better crowd, better participation in those hunts, and we get more data collected because they harvest more deer because it's early season. And it's a draw for people to come in because the tags don't count against their hunting licenses.
Okay. You're listening to our annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. We got game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us, ready to take any questions that you may have. You got one?
Yep.
You can text or call those in to the same number, 912-427-3711. Leanne just brought 3 questions in here that people have called in, and then I've had several here that have come up on the screen.
She's giggling mighty hard.
She's giggling. There's a funny question or a funny comment here, but you can text or call in your questions or comments for the game wardens at 912-427-3711. Okay, what did Leanne bring into you?
We got this one a few minutes ago. It says, can you wear a handgun on a WMA if you have a carry permit? Answer is yes. I would just caution anybody carrying a handgun to make sure that, if it's archery season, that there's no question about that just being for protection, personal protection,
right,
and not for hunting purposes.
Right.
Yeah. So to go along with that, so if you don't wear a .44 Magnum on your side with a scope attached to it, that's not going to be for personal protection.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm accurate there, game warden.
So I got a question about cougars in Wayne County. I've never seen. I know this is a controversial topic.
You've never seen
I've never seen a cougar.
We're talking about a 4-legged hairy animal, right?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're classifying our cougars here.
Yeah, okay, I can go along with that. But yeah, the animal type, the 4-legged type with the long tail. So they may come up from Florida. I don't know, but there is a strain of cougars down in northern Florida that possibly could come up this way. I've never seen a picture of one.
The last one documented anywhere close to us was on Polk's pasture in Glenn County, and that was in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Mid-90s last one.
That's the last one documented anywhere close to us.
Yeah.
That cat had a radio collar on it. Mm-hmm. It was darted and carried back to Florida.
Yeah. So,
okay.
I'm thinking
someone
if there's cougars around,
threw him in his back seat and took him back to Florida.
We should be getting pictures of them on a regular basis. As many trail cameras that are out there and home security cameras. I mean, they would be house cats going missing. I mean, dogs going, because these things they would kill anything that they come across to eat it, to survive.
They like to eat. Huh?
They do occasionally move around, get pushed out of territory, stuff like that. But it is very rare and very temporary.
Yeah. So more than likely, what people are seeing and assuming they're cougars are probably, who knows, coyotes.
What's the biggest cats we have around here?
Bobcats.
Fox.
Bobcat's the biggest cat.
At nighttime, things typically look larger than what they are, too, especially if it darts across the road in the headlight. It looks bigger than what it is. So you might be seeing a coyote, might be seeing a bobcat. Mm-hmm. But more than likely, it's not a cougar.
In my career, I've been called to people. One of them was pulled over on the side of 341 just above Aiken Road. Said he had a black panther ran over. He was sitting there with it.
Sitting there with what now?
He was sitting with what he called a black panther. He called it into our office. I drove up there, and it was a black lab.
A lab?
Run over on the side of 341.
I guess it smushed it up pretty bad. He couldn't.
Got another call, went to it. It was an otter.
An otter, huh?
Yeah, that was years apart. But, people see things, and people don't realize your mind can play tricks on you.
Oh, it can.
Especially in low-light situations.
That's kind of like seeing that buck, and he's just a little 8-point, but all of a sudden, your mind playing tricks on you. And
everybody says, big buck. And it's a basket rat.
All right.
Or a bush moving.
I'm trying to...
One more question here.
Sure, go ahead.
She brought in, when hunting from a vehicle, do I still have to wear orange when I get out to get the deer? You have to wear 500 square inches of fluorescent orange at all times when you are deer hunting or bear hunting.
Okay. At all times.
At all times.
You gotta have that fluorescent orange.
Yeah, if
in your blind of the tree.
Yeah, if those dog hunters are taking a stand in their club and they're on top of their truck, they've got to have their orange on. If they're in the woods, they got to have the orange on. When you get up in the tree stand, you got to leave the orange on. You cannot take it off at any time.
And let me just mention this real quick before we move on. This is a good time to mention safety. So we've had hunters in the past get shot and killed coming out of the woods, say late in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And other hunters, they'll sit till it's just completely dark. Well, the other hunters, they'll come out a little bit earlier, a little bit sooner. So, and when you're coming out in the afternoon, make sure you turn on some type of light, whether you can see that road, see where you're walking or not. The fluorescent orange doesn't show up quite as well once that sun goes down. But say you're coming out and you still got 10 minutes of legal light, go ahead and turn your light on, headlamp, whatever. Let other hunters in the area know you're not a deer. You're another person trying to just get back out of the woods.
All right, a question here, and I'm just going to read it as it is. It says, and a lot of people they'll talk into their phone, and sometimes when they talk into it, the words that they thought that was going to be sent is not the same, but this is why I'm just going to read it as it is.
Let's see if we can decipher it.
This is Glenn. Glenn Shirley wants to know, can he shine if the light is not very bright?
I think he called this question in last year. And I told him that he must not be very bright if he's still asking the same question. You cannot shine at all. I think I know Mr. Shirley, and I think he's just trying to mess with us a little bit.
No, don't always try.
You cannot
to go back to that point, if you're coming out don't shine it across the clear cut or across the cornfield. to let shine it down, just like in your vicinity, your area.
Just in your vicinity.
Yeah, highlighting the trail in front of you. Don't try to shine the deer that's out there in the woods or in the field.
No shining for wildlife.
All right, we got several more questions have been texted in here, but we're going to need to take a quick break here. You're listening to our annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO. We got game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us, ready to take your questions and comments. You can text or call them in to the same number at 912-427-3711. Now is the time to get him in, folks. 912-427-3711 if you have questions for the game wardens. More of the show in just a moment.
Come check out the friendliest gun shop around, Sportsman's Corner in Odom. Sportsman's Corner carries a wide variety of firearms, ammo, hunting accessories, and other outdoor items, including fish and tackle and live bait. With a very knowledgeable and friendly staff, Sportsman's Corner can help you with all your firearm needs, including gunsmithing. Sportsman's Corner is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., located at 601 North Main Street in Odom. Call them at 912-365-0018. 912-365-0018.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. We continue on with the hunting show here on WIFO. Remember to text or call in questions or comments to the game wardens. You can either do it either the same number, both ways, 912-427-3711, 912-427-3711. And somebody wants to know, what are the rules for killing bobcats? Who wants to answer that, Bob?
Oh, well, I see in the regulation book, page 33, fox and bobcat statewide season, December 1st through February 29th, there's no limit.
All right, just in that time period. What was the dates again?
December 1st through February 29th.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
That's
so evidently this is a leap year?
Oh, that's for that's the trapping regulations.
Yeah.
That's trapping.
For regular small game, it's decent. It's the same dates. No limit, but small game weapons, when you're looking at the regulations, like you said, they're on page 33. Everything is going to run until February 29th this coming year because it is a leap year. Normally it would go out on February 28th.
Okay. So we got 29 days in February next year?
That's what it is.
It's going to be a leap year.
Yeah.
That happens about every 4 years, doesn't it?
Yep. I think
All
so.
right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Another question that was texted in. It says, if you kill a deer on private property, do you have to tag it if you plan on taking it to be processed?
Yeah, I mean, any deer that's killed has to be tagged, whether it's on private or public property.
Most deer are killed on private
that's
property.
through the game check system that Bobby's talked about several times now. And as far as if you're the landowner and you're killing it on your own property, then you still have to have a harvest record or deer tags, as most people know them. But you get those for free as a landowner. They have a landowner tags or landowner harvest record. It doesn't cost them anything, but you're still required to record that harvest.
Yeah.
Like I said, all that is used to collect data, just like we talked about off the management areas. That's also done statewide with all the information that's gathered through that game check system.
Okay. And someone just texted in. It says this is their opinion on the wearing the orange stuff, okay? Just giving their 2 cents here worth, game wardens.
All right.
They said that orange rule is crazy. You can't see orange at night, and that's the best time to hunt. I got on South Georgia boys here. Just giving their opinion.
That must be Mr. Shirley chiming in.
All right. Well, we take questions and comments of all kinds here.
Randy.
Just text or call them in for the game wardens here. They'll be glad to answer them any way they can at 912-427-3711. How do you get a replacement hunter's safety card?
You can go online to that same website we've been talking about, GeorgiaWildlife.com, GoHuntGeorgia.com. Lots of different ways will link you to it, and you can get a replacement card.
Yeah, so what you have to pull up your account. And you have to be Hunter Ed verified under your account, and then you should be able to find a tab that says reprint. I don't know why you would need a copy of it unless you're
25 or under.
Once you hit 25, you don't need to. We don't ask for hunter education. You just need it in order to buy your license. And if it's already verified under your account, you're not going to have to show it to anybody.
You're required to have proof of hunter education with you till you turn 25, and then beyond that, you don't have to carry it with you.
You don't have to, because y'all can just look it up real quick, like.
We may not be able to look it up because a lot of times we're in the woods or on the river or something like that. And we don't have that capability. Mm-hmm. But that's what the law is.
Say if it's a younger kid, he's 12 to 15, as long as he has that hunter education, he can legally hunt by himself. But he'll need that hunter or proof of hunter education on his person. But again, just pull up your account. Look under your hunter education. You can reprint that license.
All right, WIFO-FM Jesup, the annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO. We got game wardens John Evans and Bob White in the studio with us this morning, taking your questions and comments. Get them into us at 912-427-3711. You can text them in at 912-427-3711, or you can call them in at 912-427-3711. Somebody wants to know, what is the law against throwing deer carcass out on the road? I guess side the road.
And this time of year is just a big problem throughout. I mean, every county, all over the place, people kill deer, so they need something or somewhere to take that carcass, and a lot of people just take them down the road and dump it out in the ditch. That is illegal. That's considered littering. So, So what we do is we suggest you find a hunting club that has. Most hunting clubs have what they call a dump pit. A pit. So, just find a local club, get permission, take it out there to that dump pit.
A lot of your WMAs also have designated areas because a lot of people, when they come to these WMA hunts, they'll clean their deer at the WMA, and they'll have a designated place that they have everybody take and dump the carcasses.
Okay.
But deer carcasses are just like any other trash or something you're disposing of. It's your responsibility to make sure it's disposed of properly. And you can't put it on anybody's property that you don't have permission to.
Or in the ditch or the dead-end road. Like I said, just try to find somebody that's a member of a hunting club and try to get permission to take it out there.
Dump it in a waterway.
All right.
Any sort of stream.
No waterway. You don't want to put it out there in the water.
Because it'll sit there for months in a creek or in water, and nothing is not going to rot or be disposed of. But if you put it out on the hill, coyotes will have it gone in a couple of days.
Okay. Coyotes, huh?
And buzzards, it'll be gone in no time. Versus if you throw it in water, it's just going to sit there for months.
And that's why a lot of these properties will designate these areas to dump it in one spot. It gets cleaned up. It's usually far enough away from anything that the smell doesn't bother anybody. And
buzzards and coyotes will do their thing, and
that's right.
Clean it up.
And then because if people do it beside the road, then it causes vehicle accidents with them hitting buzzards or whatever else may be trying to feed on that carcass. So
have to slow down and watch out for them because they're not the quickest birds in the world.
I hit one going
blowing your horn at them. They're just looking at you like, all right, I'll move. And you'll just mosey over. All right, someone just texted in. Tell John and Bobby they are great game wardens. All right, who's sucking up here?
Well, enjoy us while you can, because we're on the way out. We're on the short roads now. Yeah, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, boy. All right, you're listening to The Hunting Show right here on WIFO, the DNR Ranger Show, with the game wardens John Evans and Bob White. If you have questions or comments, this is the time, folks. Don't wait till you're looking at them eyeball to eyeball out there in hunting and say, I didn't know that. Well, ignorance is no excuse for ignorance of the law, right, guys?
That's right.
That's right. And if it's a common mistake, I mean, we can help you out with these common mistakes. The people we kind of target is the ones that are intentionally violating the law. If it's a common mistake, we can work with you.
Someone hurting the resource.
Okay. Like the person that doesn't want to wear orange when they're hunting at night, right?
Yeah, we'll work with him.
We'll work with him. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Remember, if you have any questions or comments for our game wardens, text or call those in to the same number. You can text them in to 912-427-3711, or you can call them in to 912-427-3711. Back in a moment.
Country Feed and Outdoors is a local, family-owned and operated business. We are your hometown source for any of your lawn and garden, feed, and sporting good needs, with brands such as Kalmbach Feeds, Nutrina, Banded, Realtree, 10-Point Crossbows, Daiwa, Jiffy Jigs, Zoom, and so many more. We also have a full-service bow tech from Tuesday through Saturday to service any of your archery needs. We appreciate each one of our customers, and just as 1 Peter 4:10 says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. And we look forward to using the gifts that God has given us to serve our community.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. We continue on with the DNR hunting show here on WIFO. One of the things that we usually talk about each year is just common sense hunting safety tips. Why don't you go over some of the things, just the common sense things that people should keep in the front of their mind when they're out there hunting?
Bobby covered the orange vest earlier, but I'll add to that with safety harnesses. If you're hunting from any sort of elevated stand, wear a safety harness, because the most common hunting incident that we have to work is tree stand related.
It is.
People falling, and there's a lot of folks that we deal with every year that they'll wear a safety harness, but they won't hook it up until they get up to the top of the tree or the top of the stand.
Right.
And 90% of your accidents happen when you're climbing up or climbing down.
And especially now that all this rain that we've had recently, you get a pair of muddy rubber boots and you try to climb up a metal ladder stand, the chances of slipping and falling, are pretty good. So just be careful, like you said, to wear that safety harness. Yeah. And I would add to that is identify your target. These low light conditions, make sure what you're pulling the trigger, is what you want it to be. Make sure it's not a human out there walking around.
Yeah, just so you see movement, don't you?
That's right.
I think the last one we had was, it's probably been 3 years ago now in Long County. One of the dog hunts on the management area over there.
That's right.
An individual shot another one, and that's what he told us, is that he saw the bushes moving, thought it might have been a deer. Mm-hmm. And he slung some buckshot in there and shot one of his hunting partners in the stomach.
Ooh,
yeah. So again, wear your orange vest.
He lived.
And identify your
Dick
target.
Cheney, huh?
yeah, Dick Cheney move. But yeah, identify your target. Make sure if you're deer hunting that what you're shooting is a deer.
All right.
And just
we're going to answer that question.
Just a quick note: just because you're not deer hunting. Doesn't mean you don't have to wear orange vest. If you're out there walking nature trails on these WMAs, even though you're not deer hunting, it's probably a pretty good idea to put something orange, either orange hat on or orange vest, because legally you're not deer hunting, so you don't have to have that orange vest.
But just smart.
Just a good idea.
Some of these areas are open, same as statewide season. So you may have somebody out there squirrel hunting, you may have somebody out there bird watching, and you may have somebody out there hog hunting, deer hunting, with all types of different weapons or no weapons at all. But a lot of these same people are sharing the same block of woods. Or
fishing. We have a lot of fishermen that'll walk in through our WMAs to some of these water holes that are in the woods. Hey, if you're walking in the woods in this deer season, you better put on some kind of orange vest.
That's the reason the Morgan Lake WMA is archery only for all species, because it is so intertwined with lakes and sloughs, and it gets a lot of heavy use from fishermen, and they're just all in those lakes and sloughs all throughout that property. So if we allowed anybody to hunt with firearms out there, we could potentially be slinging lead in all directions and risk hitting somebody on the water just trying to fish.
Okay. We have our annual hunting show with the DNR game wardens, John Evans and Bob Whiting, with us this morning. Another question that was texted in: how do you get tags for deer killed?
You're supposed to have your tags before you go hunting. Again, that's the harvest record that we referred to earlier. You can use that Go Outdoors Georgia app and go on there like you're buying a license. If you're a landowner, you can get those landowner tags. If you don't have a license, when you buy that license, you get the opportunity to choose a harvest record with it if you buy your big game license. And it'll populate on there once you go and complete that purchase process. It'll put it on the app on your phone. For licenses, you either have to use the Go Outdoors Georgia app and show us that digital copy of your license, or you have to have the actual printout paper copy of your license, one or the other.
Yep. Or you can call that 1-800 number, and then they'll give you that confirmation number as well.
Yeah. Okay. And if you've got the paper license, you have to record that confirmation number on your paper license. But a screenshot of an email or a receipt or something like that, that is not a license. That's not valid for us. It either has to be the electronic license or the paper license, one or the other. It's the only two options.
All right. All right, I know y'all brought in information to talk about when questions were coming in. What do y'all have that y'all would like to highlight? Well, y'all got these early hunts coming up over the next few weeks of the WMAs. How do folks go about selecting where they're going to hunt? Do they go there early and check out the WMA and say, I like this spot?
So,
how do they do that?
Yep. So they'll grab one of our regulation books, or they can go online. The WMA regs start on page 36. There's a list of rules, the regs. There's a list of all the different WMAs. And I say WMA, that's short for Wildlife Management Area, which is a state-owned or controlled leased property. But you can find a list of all the names of the WMAs that we have throughout the state, and it also gives you a list of the dates, where they're located, any special regulations that go along with that WMA. So pick up a regulation book or go online. That's the best way to find a place to hunt. And
these WMAs are a first come, first served basis. So if, just because you scout a spot, it doesn't make it yours. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys will get there. Yeah, a lot of guys will get there early. Yeah, and they may park at the gate for a while, and wait till closer to daylight, just so someone knows, okay, someone's already here.
Right. Yeah.
And that's typically kind of the way it works on the management areas, because we'll have several hundred people come for the weekend.
The WMAs have like one main gate people go in and out of.
It depends on the management area.
Check in. You have to do your in.
It depends on the hunt. Okay. Like the ones coming up that I referred to earlier on Palks, San Sevilla, those are check-in hunts. Most of the hunts in our area are sign-in hunts. So you just come and sign in a sheet at the kiosk, and then you go hunting. If you kill something, you come back, you check it out on Game Check.
On your tag.
And it'll give you the opportunity to select which management area you were on in that Game Check system if you were hunting on a WMA.
Yeah. Whereas the check-in hunts, the state will provide you the two tag for your deer that killed. That's the difference in a check-in and sign-in
there if you go on these early hunts.
Yeah, and they've actually started referring to them as bonus hunts.
Yeah.
They've been called check-in hunts for decades, so that's what most people are familiar with, but they are referring to them as bonus hunts now because it's bonus deer tags.
All right, you can get some extra meat in the freezer or get giveaway to someone.
Yep.
You're listening to our annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. In the studio with us right now is John Evans, Game Wardens John Evans and Bob White. Remember, you can text or call in questions or comments to the same number. You can text in your questions to 912-427-3711, or you can call them in to 912-427-3711. Either way, if you call them in, we'll write the question down and present it to the Game Wardens. If you text them in, it'll come up here to our screen. So if you have questions or comments for the Game Wardens, now's the time to do it. Text or call at 912-427-3711. More of our annual hunting show in a moment.
Come check out the friendliest gun shop around, Sportsman's Corner in Odom. Sportsman's Corner carries a wide variety of firearms, ammo, hunting accessories, and other outdoor items, including fish and tackle and live bait. With a very knowledgeable and friendly staff, Sportsman's Corner can help you with all your firearm needs, including gunsmithing. Sportsman's Corner is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., located at 601 North Main Street in Odom. Call them at 912-365-0018. 912-365-0018.
All right, our annual DNR hunting show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Butch Hubbard here with you, along with the Game Wardens, Bob White and John Evans in the studio with us this morning. Just giving out the words of wisdom to y'all folks so y'all have a legal and safe hunting season. What do people use the WMAs for other than hunting deer? What all kind of activities are going on there at the WMAs?
Fishing, bird watching.
So you can go on the WMA anytime, is that right?
As long as you have a hunting license, fishing license, or a lands use pass.
Now, how do you get a lands use pass?
Same
thing
place,
online?
the same
place you buy.
You just can't walk on there without.
No, you have to have
something.
There are some folks that are we call them non-consumptive users. They don't hunt or they don't fish, but they want to enjoy the property. They don't want to buy a hunting license or a fishing license, so we offer a lands pass options for those individuals.
So you got to have one of those three to be on their WMA.
Okay. Yeah. Someone just said, I'm not sure which one of y'all said that, did he say a screenshot of your license will not work?
That's correct.
Can't be a screenshot. It's actually got to be.
It needs to either be the app.
The app for it.
Or the paper license. A lot of people try to show us a screenshot of where they purchased it. But that does not include their personal information. It just shows us where someone purchased a license.
Okay.
It doesn't tie it back to that individual. And that's what we've got to verify, is that license with that personal information.
Okay. So it's got to be the app type thing, like you would have going into a ball game or something like that. You've got to have that actual,
that's right.
all that information that you just can't take.
We get that all the time. Somebody, they purchase it and then they take a screenshot where they purchased it, but it doesn't have any personal information on it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to our wildlife management areas, some of the things that people do wrong on our WMA is they bring in bait. They think because it's you can legally bait deer statewide, that they think that they can do it on our wildlife management areas, but you cannot bring corn or any type of bait whatsoever on our WMAs.
Okay.
No baiting allowed. So if you get caught, you may get a ticket, and then it's just not allowed. Another thing is ATVs, UTVs, side by sides. We have a lot of issues with people just assuming they can just go out to our wildlife management areas and just ride them, do whatever they want.
Right.
You can ride your ATV and UTV out on these WMAs if you are participating in a small game or big game hunt. But just to go out there on a Sunday afternoon and ride around, it's not allowed. You have to be hunting.
I thought you had to be on the main road to be able to use those.
And you have to be on the main road.
But you can't go off just through the woods.
Can't drive them.
You've got to be on the road like a regular vehicle.
Just like a regular vehicle, yes.
Okay. All right.
Cannot drive behind closed gates.
And you have to meet all safety and licensing requirements.
Okay.
So you have to have a valid driver's license. That ATV is supposed to have insurance on it. Headlights, brake lights, the whole nine.
Like you would be if you're riding around?
Everything but a tag.
Okay.
For your, like you would have on your truck.
Right.
The four-wheeler ATV has to, and it's only allowed if you are participating in a hunt, like Bobby said.
Okay. Did y'all have a question here that she brought in?
It says, the question is, can you shoot a fox on your property at night if it is messing with your dogs and property? I have never in my life heard of a fox coming up and messing with dogs. There is a state law that allows you to protect your livestock. Like if a fox is getting your chickens or something like that, then you can kill that fox to protect your livestock. But outside of that, just a fox being on your property, no, you cannot shoot it.
All right.
And foxes don't come up and mess with deer hounds.
Yeah, okay. It says, I heard that Georgia did away with the toting license, say for sidearms. Does that pertain to the woods? Also, do you still have to have a weapons license?
Georgia is now a constitutional carry state. So you're not required to have that weapons carry license to carry for protection or whatever in Georgia.
Right.
A lot of people still get the weapons carry license because other states don't recognize Georgia's constitutional carry outside of Georgia.
Right.
So if I want to carry my firearm when I go out of state, then I have to have that weapons carry permit from Georgia in order for it to be accepted in the other states that we have a reciprocal agreement with.
Okay. All right. So can you walk around like the old Western days with your holster around you and the gun beside you and not have to worry about it?
You can.
You can. All right. I hope not.
That's actually how Georgia used to be for years and years, and then they changed it to what we now know as because it used to be a concealed carry. You only had to have the permit to carry it concealed.
Concealed, right.
Open carry was legal in Georgia forever and ever. Mm-hmm. Then it went a little more restrictive, and now it's back.
Okay. All right. DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. We're going to take a quick break and then come back with some more of the comments from the game wardens. Remember, if you have questions or comments, text or email those, text or call those in to 912-427-3711. If you call them in, we'll write down the question and present it to the game warden. If you text it in, it'll come up on my screen. So now's the time to do it, folks. 912-427-3711.
Country Feed and Outdoors is a local, family-owned and operated business. We are your hometown source for any of your lawn and garden, feed, and sporting good needs, with brands such as Kalmbach Feeds, Nutrina, Banded, Realtree, 10-Point Crossbows, Daiwa, Jiffy Jigs, Zoom, and so many more. We also have a full-service bow tech from Tuesday through Saturday to service any of your archery needs. We appreciate each one of our customers, and just as 1 Peter 4:10 says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. And we look forward to using the gifts that God has given us to serve our community.
Some of these comments and questions we get are not suitable for air.
Hey, they're funny.
But it does keep us laughing here.
Oh, yeah.
They're hilarious.
All right. So let's go about, I know most people know this, but let's just do this for information's sake. How old do you have to be to have do you got to have a hunting license for deer? How old do you have to be? How do you go about getting that? And how do parents get it for their children?
Hunting license?
Yeah.
So once they turn 16, it's kind of like a driver's license.
Okay.
The state requires you to purchase a hunting license for the individual. They have to have hunter's education before they can legally go ahead and buy that license.
Okay.
So we recommend, somewhere around the age of 12 or so, just, try to go ahead and get that hunter education class. And the best way to do that is go online, GeorgiaWildlife.com and take that course. Or here in Wayne County, every year we offer a in-person class, usually around August.
Yeah. Ricky Stringer is our hunter ed instructor for this area and has been for about 49, 50 years, something like that.
Give a shout out to Ricky. He's awesome.
Ricky puts on an awesome class every year. They've been doing it out at the House of Worship now for years. And he actually puts on a live fire class out there, so they get an opportunity to shoot some shotguns out back, shoot
and
some archery
equipment. So a really good class.
And it's an all-day class, one day on Saturday. Typically in August. We try to kick it off before hunting season gets started. But he's been doing that for a long time. Great instructor, and a lot of people love coming to that.
Okay. Dove season in right now?
Dove season is in. Yeah, it came in
It comes in toward the 1st of September, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it was the 3rd, something like that. It goes out on October the 8th for the first season, and then it'll come back in at the end of November.
Okay. Still a lot of folks out there dove hunting these days?
Oh, yeah. Dove hunting, that's probably second most popular to deer.
Yeah, around here, especially in, upper and west Wayne and in Pierce counties where there's a lot of cropland and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so dove goes out October the 8th, which is next Sunday, and then it won't come back in. Yeah, October 8th. Anyway, then it comes back in November 18th through the 26th, which is that Thanksgiving week, and then it'll go back out, come back in around Christmas time.
And you got to be wearing orange when you're doing that.
Not dove hunting.
Not dove hunting.
No.
Okay.
Not
Dove,
just
dove
that's
is
only
small game. Hunter orange is required for big game.
Big game, or smart to have it on if you're walking through WMAs, no matter what you're doing on it.
That's right, yeah. And also, just we're talking about safety and all. This time of year, the rut is starting to kind of kick in, and you getting a lot of hunters in the woods. It's pushing these deer out and around. These deer are going to be jumping out in front of vehicles. Leave, going to work, going to school, just a few minutes early so you can drive speed limit or even slower, because this time of year the car crashes versus the deer that
we had some
really goes up. So just be mindful that during the fall you may want to leave a little bit early and just kind of slow down driving on these, especially these backcountry roads.
Yeah, the thing about pulling up on a deer like that, in several places I've lived in, where I live right now, you see them, they're on the side of the road, okay, and you're watching them. You're hoping now, just take it easy. I'm just going to go right on by. Don't run at me,
Those you don't have to worry about. It's the ones you don't see
that you can fly out. So if I see one on the side of the road, I'm looking to the left and right to see if someone wasn't coming out from somewhere.
So if you see them, don't change your pace. Don't slam on brakes, because then the person behind you is going to rear end you. Just keep your same pace. Don't make any sudden change. They should continue to stay there and feed in the ditch, because they're just in there feeding.
Yeah, they're just there eating.
So
you don't want to do anything to
It's
scare
the ones
them.
you don't see that you have to worry about.
Right, they just come flying out of the south.
Yep. So leave a little bit early. Drive, speed limit or slower this time of year especially.
Okay. Got something there, John?
Yeah. The question is, can you haul your weapon in an ATV in a box with bullets in clip and not in chamber? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've just got your clip loaded, nothing in the chamber, you're not trying to hunt from the road or anything, then that's fine.
Okay.
especially if it's cased. That's even better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're meaning on WMAs.
I assume that was the case. But
You would think that would be it. You know, that's one thing that has really developed over the past, let's say, 40 years or so, or the WMAs. I mean, you just gone from, they just seem more of them and bigger through the years. There's a lot of public property out there for people to hunt on,
especially
birdwatch.
in our area, Wayne and Long County. The state has really acquired a lot of land over the last.
Most of what
10
we
to
had
12
around
years.
here used to be leased properties from the timber company, and now most of this property, especially along the river, is state-owned land.
Right.
So it'll be there forever. It's not going to anything else. It's going to be strictly for outdoor recreation.
And all kinds of recreation. It's just
Absolutely,
not deer
yeah.
hunting. I mean,
Yep.
what
That's
y'all
right.
said right there, a lot of folks do a lot of different things on these public areas.
Yep.
All right. Remember now, if you have any questions or comments for the game wardens, now's the time to do it because we're getting ready about to wrap up the show. Text or call them in right now to 912-427-3711. We got game wardens John Evans and Bob White in here this morning. They'll be glad to answer any questions or listen to any or we'll ask them any comments you may have or any questions you may have. You can text or call those in to the same number, 912-427-3711. Text in or call in your questions or comments right now.
Come check out the friendliest gun shop around, Sportsman's Corner in Odom. Sportsman's Corner carries a wide variety of firearms, ammo, hunting accessories, and other outdoor items, including fish and tackle and live bait. With a very knowledgeable and friendly staff, Sportsman's Corner can help you with all your firearm needs, including gunsmithing. Sportsman's Corner is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., located at 601 North Main Street in Odom. Call them at 912-365-0018. 912-365-0018.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio will continue on with the DNR Hunting Show here on WIFO. And remember now, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and get those in now because we're about to wrap up the hunting show this morning. You can get them into us at 912-427-3711. Either text or call them in. Oh, jeez.
Got another one.
Is John or Bob the good friend that Hoover is talking about when he posts pics of food on Facebook?
No, he's talking about Randy Aspinwall. Yeah, him and Tony's like peas and carrots, man.
Peas and carrots. So that's the good friend.
Yep.
When they're talking about food on Facebook.
Yep.
All right. You got something there for us there, Bob?
Or John, either one.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you were
just-
looking at the page right there, and
We
you're
both
leaning over
are.
like you're getting ready to go to it, you know?
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, we
Go ahead.
both are, and so we cover 4 counties, which is Wayne County, Long, Brantley, and Pierce. It's John and I, and our supervisor. So we're kind of stretched thin. So we always want to try to recruit some young, eager help whenever we can. So the qualifications for becoming a game warden are listed on page 63 in our regulation book. Basically, you got to be 21 years of age. You got to have an associate's degree or higher, or 4 years of active duty with honorable discharge. Starting salary for us is $52,000. Might be more than that, John. Did it go up?
It's
is it still
starting
52?
salary right now. Yeah, that's as of this
So
year.
when I started in June of 1998, it was $21,500. I think was our starting salary back then. Now it's $52,000. It's just unbelievable. So, but we are definitely looking for some young, eager help. Anybody out there that's possibly wanting to become a game warden. If you enjoy the outdoors, you don't mind working alone. You have a background in hunting, fishing, boating, then hey, come apply. We definitely need the help.
Okay, so if you would like to look into possibly becoming a game warden, just go and check it out on their website. Look at employment there.
They can go to gadnrle.org.
Okay.
That's our law enforcement division website, and there's got tons of information. They can download the application, all sorts of stuff there, and we need the help statewide.
Yeah, I know.
It's a great career. Can't imagine doing anything else in my life. So
No, I would not change a thing.
Nope,
If I had
me
to
neither.
go back and do it over again.
Okay. Somebody just texted, is it legal to pursue coyotes on Little Satilla WMA with hounds?
when it's open for some other type of season. So say it's fox and bobcat season. Whenever it's legal for you to hunt those other animals, you can hunt coyotes at the same time.
Okay. All right, with the hounds.
And it's called a bycatch, so it's kind of like you go on deer hunting and want to shoot a hog. You can do that, but there's we don't have a special season for a hog.
No, hogs are just wide open out there, isn't it?
They are.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Yeah. And
You're restricted to hunting them with whichever weapon is legal at the time, and that's what Bobby's referring to as sort of like bycatch.
It's a bycatch.
If it's legal to hunt small game out there at that time, then you have to kill them with a small game weapon. If it's legal for deer hunting, you can kill them with your deer rifle.
Yeah. So it's archery season now, so you can shoot them with your bow. You can't go out there with a high-powered rifle and say, well, I'm hog hunting, but so you have to be hunting or use that equipment that's whatever season is in.
Okay. Someone texted in, says, comment open roads to, I guess it Bowles, Bouls Island?
Bulls Island.
All right, to Bulls Island. Comment, it says, comment open road to that island, WMA.
I spoke with Houston Channel is the area manager for Penn Holloway WMA, and Boyles Island falls under that for management. He was on the island last week mowing the roads, trying to open them up, but the river level has been abnormally high all summer long.
They have.
So and it's restricted their ability to go over there and do much. And he said that the hunt it will be in 2 weeks for that area. Right now it's boat access only, but normally we open up a road to access that island by vehicle if river level allows. So at this point it's going to depend on the river level. It's been fluctuating so much, I can't say for sure whether that gate will be open.
And right now the river is on the way down, but by next week, who knows? It's probably back up again.
Yeah,
This year
but the way it's been going, 2 weeks can make a world of difference.
Yeah, it sure can. Give the river level. It's like watching
up and down.
Up and down, up and down, up and down, you know?
Yeah, so it's all going to be dependent on the river level. If it stays down enough and it's dry enough, then we'll allow vehicles over there. If not, it'll have to be boat access only because Mother Nature just ain't going to let us.
Mm-hmm. Now, y'all been doing this for a long time as game wardens. What would you say would be the top 3 infractions that people do out there hunting? Let's just keep it, either in general hunting or deer season, either way y'all want to answer this, so people can make sure that they're legal. What do you all see as the most common thing?
Hunting without permission is probably one of the bigger ones, whether it's still hunting on land without permission or running dogs on property that you don't have permission to be on.
And that would be more of an intentional violation. Let's say the unintentional violation would be you buy your license and you get it on an automatic renewal, and I see this all the time is I had it on automatic renewal, but you got a new debit card. Well, on that you get a debit card, you have to go in there and update your profile and enter that information, or it's not going to update. So, and then you'll be out there hunting with an expired license or fishing, whichever. So just that would be one.
Okay.
It kind of depends on the time of the year. As far as deer hunting goes, I would think the number one would be without permission, whether it's still hunting or with dogs. Number 2, as far as intentional stuff goes, it's taking over the limit.
Of bucks.
Of bucks, mostly, because, we're allowed 10 does. Most people are not killing that many does.
Most
people will kill.
Overrun.
Yeah, people will kill too many bucks. They'll kill too many small bucks, because you're allowed 2 bucks. One of those is supposed to have 4 points on one side. At least. So that's typically going to mean an 8 point.
Yeah.
For one of them.
And we live in an area where if we let these younger deer grow up to, let's say 3.5 to 4.5 years old, we could have some really good deer in our area. And we've been seeing that over the last several years, where people are letting these younger deer grow, and we're seeing a lot bigger deer being killed now compared to in the years past.
Okay. What about back to the unintentional things people just kind of mentally overlook? That you go.
The license is the big thing. Maybe if you're going to your hunting club and see a big buck, just
that's going to fall into the intentional side. I think Bobby was leaning towards that hunting from a public road.
hunting from a poker road.
Which a lot of times also involves hunting without permission because you're shooting a deer on property that you don't have permission to be on.
Well, a lot of times if you ride down some of these, and not just necessarily dirt roads, but some paved roads out in the counties like that, you'll see the hunters on the side of the road with their orange vest on, and they're looking out in toward the woods. Are they waiting for the dogs to be?
A lot of times those are dog hunters, and just because a hunter is standing along the edge of the road doesn't mean they're violating the law.
Yeah, more than likely, if they're just standing there in the ditch on the side of public road, they're out there catching their dogs. They're coming through. They want to catch them before they get out there on that highway and get run over.
Now, if they're in the road with a gun, that's illegal.
Yeah, that's when you call that 1-800 number.
But a lot of times, especially if you see them on a county road, they may just be on the boundary of their club and trying to catch dogs, like Bobby's saying.
Right.
Call that hotline if they're hunting the road. But if they're just there to catch dogs, you don't see guns, it's not against the law for them to do that.
Okay. And someone texted in. It says, is there a way you guys could post your work schedule online so we know what days you're off duty and when we should pay extra attention to the rules?
Tell Mr. Shirley that he's reached his limit of questions. He's only allowed 3. So. She did bring me one more earlier. It's kind of vague.
What's that? It's kind of vague?
Yeah, she brought one earlier. It says, hear shots at night. What do you think about that, and what would you do if you caught them? That all depends on where you live. Because I watched the news this morning, and people in Savannah heard a bunch of shots a couple nights ago, and 4 or 5 of them got shot.
And let me just say this, that just because you're hearing shots at night, that don't mean that they're doing anything illegal. We have coyote hunters. They'll call me and say, "Hey, I'm going over here on my property tonight, and I'm going to be shooting coyotes and hunting them." Mm-hmm. They're going to be shooting if the coyotes come out, and just because you hear that shot, don't mean that somebody's out there illegally hunting.
Same thing goes with hogs
and hogs,
raccoons.
Right. Yeah.
I really said that wasn't me.
Just because you hear a shot at night doesn't mean it's illegal. If it's in an area that you know you shouldn't be hearing shots, it's on your property, something like that, then it's probably illegal activity.
Yeah.
Call that ranger hotline.
Yeah.
If you see a vehicle, you see somebody shining a light, something like that from a road, that's definitely illegal. Call that ranger hotline. Don't confront any of those people, because the last part of it said, what do you do if you caught them? Call 911, call that ranger hotline, get some law enforcement out there to handle it. Yeah. Rather than you trying to handle it on your own.
Okay. All right. Any other final comments or information that y'all would like to be passed along to our listeners this morning here on the Hunting Show here on WIFO? Anything at all, gentlemen?
Nothing I don't think so.
You think we covered everything y'all we need to cover?
I think we have. Just everybody be safe. Make sure you wear your orange vest. Wipe off them old muddy rubber boots before you climb up that ladder stand. Be safe. Wear your harness.
Safety harness, yep.
Identify your target. That's a biggie. Make sure, if you're deer hunting, make sure it's a deer that you're actually shooting at.
Yeah, I know it wasn't Shirley. He texted us.
Make sure you got your licenses.
Yeah, just folks having fun. I like to get some of these fun ones in here because it lightens things up.
That's right.
It lightens things up a little bit here. Here's another one here, but I'm not going to go into it. Something about if it's a lie, it was told to me if Hoover gets remarried, John's going to be the best man. See, we get stuff like that. And that's a good funny.
Oh, Hoover's getting it today.
He's getting it. Hey, tell them boys that he's working with they need to go back to work.
Yeah.
I know they're boss man and they supposed to be working right now.
They're multitasking, right?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We do appreciate it, and we hope everyone has a safe and legal hunt this year during deer season. Of course, there's always different things going on. You got dove going on right now. Is quail going on now? Is that more of the winter stuff?
They come in November.
November, that's what I thought. And just be safe out there, hunting, fishing, bird watching, whatever you do out there. Just be careful, be smart. John? Bob, thanks for coming in. Y'all take care.
See you next year.
See you next year. All right. WIFO-FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, 105.5 FM. We'll give it to your favorite country music in just a moment right here on Big Dog Country.
Country Feed and Outdoors is a local, family-owned and operated business. We are your hometown source for any of your lawn and garden, feed, and sporting good needs, with brands such as Kalmbach Feeds, Nutrina, Banded, Realtree, 10-Point Crossbows, Daiwa, Jiffy Jigs, Zoom, and so many more. We also have a full-service bow tech from Tuesday through Saturday to service any of your archery needs. We appreciate each one of our customers, and just as 1 Peter 4:10 says, just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. And we look forward to using the gifts that God has given us to serve our community.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, and our annual DNR hunting show with the game wardens in here this morning. We'd like to say thank you very much to John Evans and Bob White for taking time out of their busy schedule to come give this information to you on having a legal, safe hunt and also answering your questions. Our annual DNR sponsors for our hunting show this morning was Sloan's Deer Processing, a Sportsman's Corner in Odom, Jesup Tire, Harrison Real Estate, and Country Feed and Outdoor. We'd like to thank them very much for making this hunting show this morning possible right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. Y'all have a great day.